You are welcome to your program, Project Nigeria. Project Nigeria is a platform for national discourse, democracy, and development. On the set with me today is the sponsor of that popular bill that has generated not only national reaction but international reaction. The same-sex marriage bill in the National Assembly. So with me is Senator Domingo Alaba Obende. He's a senator representing Edo North in the National Assembly, Senate specifically. He's also the Vice Chairman of the Senate Committee on Federal Capital Territory in the National Assembly. My guest, Domingo Alaba Obende. You are welcome to the Project Nigeria.
Thank you very much.
Can you just tell us a little about yourself? Who is Domingo Alaba Obende?
Well, just as you have mentioned, my name is Domingo Alaba Obende. I'm from Igara, precisely in Akoko Edo local government area of Edo State. And of course, we are referred to as the Afema people, which is commonly referred to as the Edo North Senatorial District. I schooled in my village in Igara in local authority school. Thereafter, I came to Lagos, had my technical school here at Trade Center. I went to Uniben in Benin, and thereafter I went to University of East London, where I did my master's in public services. I've been in business, and thereafter I felt in the course of being in business and seeing the challenges of our people, I should go into politics. Peradventure, I'll be able to affect one or two issues as it affects our community, our youth, and our women. And that's how I found myself in politics. Today, I'm glad, to the glory of God, that I'm a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Looking at Nigeria, our constitution provided us to have a free association, freedom of expression, and what took you to the issue of the same-sex marriage?
Well, it's quite a long story, and I've told this story over and over again, but I will just paraphrase it. One, if you go into the social network, you find a lot of indecent movies and a couple of activities that honestly does not represent our culture and tradition as Nigerian, first and foremost, and as Africans. Because what makes us unique as Africans is the culture and the value that is attached to it. So I felt, look, a couple of these trends could just find its way into this country called Nigeria. And to check in it presupposes that we needed to do something. And I decided to put the bill together. And I approached my colleagues. And of course, the leadership of the National Assembly were very receptive to the bill. And that is, of course, what made this bill, prohibition against same-sex marriage, to be so applauded in the National Assembly, and today it's a law.
When you are putting the bill together, does it occur to you that this bill is going to generate reaction or sentiment as we have it today?
Honestly, when I was doing it, I thought I was just doing my job as a senator, trying to look at ways we can behave better. I never envisaged in a minute that it was going to be so controversial. Neither did I reason it that it was going to be so applauded. These are the two issues. There were contradictions on one side and there were acceptability on the other side. But overall, I believe and I know that today in Nigeria, 90-something% are for the bill, while very minute people of this country are not for the bill. They're talking about human rights. I've always said that where your rights stop, that's where mine starts. And as a sovereign nation, we have our culture and our tradition. And even when we make laws in any legislative body, our culture and traditions are usually considered. So basically, to us, we do not see any value in the gay culture. And if there's no value in the gay culture, then it means it does not belong to Africa. And it is not for Africa. For heaven's sake, we just must legislate against it.
President Goodluck Jonathan recently assent to the bill sponsored and were considered in the National Assembly. Distinguished, how do you feel when that bill was assented by President of Nigeria?
Well, naturally, I must say that as a lawmaker, when your bill is assented to, that's now become a law, there's that sense of happiness, you know, that overtakes you, which in other words means that you already have a bill in your name. But I will quickly add that I didn't know the challenge that bill was going to pose. And anyway, whatever that it were, I was happy, first and foremost, and I was glad that at least we have something to regulate the behavior of people. I've always said something, that a city without law is a city without sin. And making the laws presupposes that what we're just trying to do is to ask people that even when you do it and nobody is looking at you, do not solemnize it. It is the contract that brings about the punishment hitherto thereof. But I believe that with this, trying to run away from being punished or corrective, then that will make us a better person. I've always thought that people in their own right senses must go by the creation of God. Because in the beginning it was not so. It was not so that a man will see a man and will be lusting for themselves, nor a woman lusting after a woman. God created man and also a woman. If God wanted a man and a man to live together, I believe God in his own wisdom would have made a man and another man, you know, alongside with that man so that they can live together. So we believe that it's a twist of brain. And of course, in those days, in America, I must say clearly to you, if people had such issues, they were usually considered as a psychiatric issues. And they were sent to the psychiatrists for help. But today, I don't know why it's been accepted in the society. Even though accepted in America, but I can say to you that more than 25 states are yet to accept that. They still applaud gay marriage. So to me, I'm very, very happy. I'm very glad that the president signed this bill. And it has now become a law in
Many
Nigeria.
Nigerians have been reacting to this bill that has become an act in Nigeria. Some are saying their rights have been violated. So what's your word to this set of Nigeria who felt their human rights have been violated?
Well, I had mentioned this earlier, that where somebody's right stops, that's where another person's rights begin. But as a country, we have also a right. We are free to express our rights as a country. Now, for a Nigerian who believes that his or her right has been violated, I start to wonder which culture such a Nigerian belongs. Because if it were to be a gay culture, community, or society, I don't think such a Nigerian would have been born. So for me, I am of the view that where their rights stopped, that's where mine started from. And in the course of it, I felt that my rights were being trampled upon, and I needed to do something. So for us, it's not a right of you cannot live a life. It's a right merely expressing and explaining the fact that you are encroaching into the culture of Nigeria and encroaching into the morals of the Nigerian people. If the international community loves us so much, it's not to transfer morals to us. What we need is technology transfer. We want them to come into this country and make it look better. We want to be like America, I want to be like the United Kingdom, we want to be like even just down South Africa here. It is not the gay relationship that will give us that. And you check clearly, they will tell you that the gay community are usually very lazy people. And that is the truth. Because they live on it. And I don't think Nigeria should continue to do that. So for me, we have not trampled onto the right of everybody. We are merely doing our job. And of course, Nigeria as a nation and as a sovereign country has the right to make law for ourselves.
And to come back to you shortly after this time out. Thank you. Welcome back. The program is still Project Nigeria. And as here with me, Senator Domingo Alaba Obende, the sponsor of the same-sex bill in the National Assembly of Nigeria. Distinguished, shortly after the President of Nigeria assent to the bill, there were reactions across the Nigeria and across the globe, to the extent the international community were trying to sanction Nigeria for the assent of Mr. President to the same-sex marriage bill. So talking about withholding some critical assistance to some critical sector of the country. What's your take on this?
Well, I honestly do not understand where these Western countries are coming from. And I must say it clearly. If you check today, majority of the HIV/AIDS sufferers today, they are gay people, majority of them. And in Nigeria, we have a program that is maintaining this kind of people, and the federal government is not going to stop. There is no aid as on for the federal government that is going to stop their medical allowances. Whatever they are entitled to, they are going to have it for as long as they are sufferers of such sicknesses. Then come to think about it. Nigeria, do we really need AIDS if the government is right? The answer is no. I don't just think that it's just for the government to curb corruption. And when corruption is caught, we don't need anybody to give us any aid. And what is more, will Nigeria take permission from Canada, from America, from London, from Germany, before we legislate on laws that affect or contradicts our culture and our customs? The answer is no. And if the answer is no, for heaven's sake, if they want to keep their AIDS, they can go ahead and keep it. Because if they do keep it, then Nigeria will wake up. We know that we are responsible for ourselves, and we need to do something to wake up in making sure that Nigeria becomes a better place for you and I.
Some of the reaction we have seen after the bill has been ascended into the law has been what we can call jungle justice. Some few people have been humiliated, even to some killed, stoned to death, because they are found to be practicing same-sex marriage. Distinguished, what do you see to this so-called jungle justice, even though we have a law?
Well, I feel that what you have just said is just a figment of imagination. I've never seen, neither have I heard nor read that anybody has been stoned to death since the passage of this bill. It could be one of those international conspiracy publications or journalism that is taking the light of negativity on the tone of Nigeria. Maybe, that's just maybe. But let me say clearly that this bill, to me, is even giving them soft landing, because the Islamic law is clear. They will stone them to death. That's what the Islamic law says. And even in the Bible, these people ought to be stoned to death. So, but this law has given them a soft landing to making them have a period of repentance to return back to their Creator. Because if their Creator wanted them to be a man and a man together, then of course he would have done just that. Or two women together, he would have done just that. So for me, I do not see any jungle justice anywhere since after the bill has been assented to. And let me also add very quickly that the contract between two men is punishable, and it remains so in Nigeria.
Same-sex marriage is prohibited in Nigeria. Distinguished, may I know from you, do you think this bill or this act of the National Assembly has been assented to by President Goodluck Jonathan will promote a balanced society in Nigeria?
Well, when you talk about balanced society, I believe balanced society of sane people, balanced society of cultured people, balanced society of civilized people, and balanced society of those who will abide by the rules and regulations as it governs a country. That's the meaning of a balanced society. Otherwise, the armed robbers would have been craving for an association whereby they go robbing people and killing people. They have the right to do that. Then, of course, you have a couple of things that could possibly have been going wrong. Why are we fighting our secret society people? Why do we go to the universities and driving away the young ones that are into secret cults and secret society activities? It's because we want a balanced society. And balanced society presupposes normal human living. Where I'm going on the street, there's nothing to offend my sensitivity. And I think that's what's called balanced society. I was talking to one journalist one day, and I said to him, how will you feel if you go to your village and the villagers are seeing two girls kissing themselves and two boys kissing themselves? Obviously, they'll be stoned to death. And that is the way it ought to have been. But this law, to me, has merely come to regulate it, to create some civility in the way we handle the activities of those that are not wanted in the society. To me, if they know what this law has really done for them, is that they ought to be grateful to God, that there is a law that is giving them soft landing in this context and in a country like this, a country called Nigeria.
You have become a role model. I know you are one before the assent of the bill, but as a role model, what will you tell Nigerian youth about same-sex marriage?
First and foremost, I always believe that out of the abundance of our hearts, the mouth speaketh, that's one. Then out of the intake of our conscience and behavior, the activities of our bodies are known. You see, to me, I know that there is God, and I believe that there is God. Since I do and know this, I encourage my children to live in the Lord. Because when they live in the Lord, what they will radiate will be holy. The aroma will be sweet, and it will be perceived by all. For me, to the youths, they should hold on to God, very hardworking, know that they can make it, irrespective of the challenges we have today, only if they live a right life. And a right life presupposes that someday they should be looking towards having a woman to themselves, if you are a man, to get married and having a family. And you cannot have a family if you are gay. And if you have a family and you are gay, then of course you are already cheating the association you belong. Because the gay community intention is to exterminate, I say again, exterminate every living soul. Because obviously, when men are married to men and women are married to women, you obviously can't have a reproduction. And if you do have, who is going to take care of them? So for me, for the youths, I ask them that they should live right, make sure they are hardworking and they do what they want to do rightly. And God will obviously see them through, irrespective of the challenges we have in this country called Nigeria.
Before we go on this show, I would love to ask my guest, something relating to 2015 general election in Nigeria, because election is right the corner and politicians are already politicking. Distinguished, 2015 election is here. Do you think INEC is ready for 2015 election? Based on what we've seen in Anambra, and we also have Ekiti and Osun coming. Do you think INEC is ready for 2015 general election?
Well, for INEC, I sympathize with them because the challenges they are having stem from one state to the other. And the problems are not same. You know, what they encountered in Anambra might not be what they are going to encounter in Ekiti and also Osun. So you find out that they have big challenge in their hands. Then the biggest problem that worries me has to do with the fact that if in one state we are having this kind of massive challenge, what's going to happen on the day of general election? So INEC really needs to wake up. For me, what has happened in the new timetable that they just released is very worrisome, where you're starting the presidential election first before all other elections. One, there are two things. Either the election is going to be mad, and if mad, a state of emergency might be declared. That's my feeling. Or secondly, there will be a bandwagon effect. which is a total negate to what politics should bring. If I am to advise INEC, I will say clearly to INEC, let us have this election in just one day, where the results will come out in just one day, and everybody will accept their victory and their defeats. And when that happens, the challenge of violence will be minimized. Because obviously you are saying to the public that the first day election, if any party loses, he goes ahead to prepare for the next election. Can be normal, can be abnormal. So to me, INEC needs to really look at this and make sure that the election is collapsed for a day election so that Nigeria will have rest after the election. That's my advice for INEC.
To our politicians.
To our politicians. I'm a politician, and I know that in everything I put God first. I want our politicians to put God first, because whether you're a Muslim or you're a Christian, we all call God. And in the inauguration of the 7th National Assembly, we were inaugurated with the Bible and with the Quran. I didn't see any other person coming forth that he has any other God he's serving. And if we know all of this, we should know that God is the one that gives power. Ours is to do the best we can campaign and sell our ideas to the people. And the dividends of democracy must reach the people, because any politics that does not put food on the table of the common man is not politics. Any politics that is not taking our youth from the street of unemployment is not politics. Any politics that has no reference to human capacity building is not politics. And above it all, any politics that does not empower women, then of course it's not politics. We must play our politics that will be beneficial to everybody, so that we can see it as a game. As a game, in the sense that this game, when there is victory, there is the dividend, and the dividends is what develops our community. We are tired of aid. We are tired of people coming to help us. We also want to grow and help people. And we can only do this if we get our elections very right.
One bill, same-sex marriage bill, has gone down the line to your credit. What is the next thing from Senator?
Well, we have one social welfare bill. That one is gone through the second reading. It will be coming forth for the third reading shortly. And of course, we also have the custom bill, custom repeal and amendment bill. That has also been passed anyway. But of course, this same-sex bill has become the star of all the bills. And after all of that, I still have about 10 more other bills that are human-oriented and to touch the lives of the people. It's not all about, controversies. And maybe there's another controversial one, which has to do with the spouse property right bill. This also is talking about marriage, where, because in Nigeria, not only in Nigeria, in Africa, you find two people happily married, and after the death of the man, because it is assumed that the men are always the breadwinners, after the death of the husband, the women are kicked out with her children. I think that is not right. That bill is coming forth, and I know it's going to see the light of the day.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Distinguished, same-sex bill that has become an art has gone down the lane to your credit. What is the next thing we're going to hear from Senator Domingo Obande? Vial, thank you for staying tuned with us on Project Nigeria. My guest has been Senator Domingo Alaba Obande. Thanks for watching. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.